Many musicians dream of becoming endorsers for their favorite brands. In this video I would like to give you specific tips on how to get closer to this dream. The last video was about how a professional endorsement actually works, because there are still some misunderstandings. If you haven't seen this before, check it out again here. And I got some of the tips in these videos personally from insiders, for example, people who actually decide on endorsement applications, so they should know. If you heed them all, that is still no guarantee, but you have significantly increased your chances of becoming an endorser for a company that you like. By the way, before we jump right in, I would like to thank everyone who made these videos possible, and that is all of you. Every subscriber who gives a like, leaves a comment, helps with this, but especially those of you who support me on Patreon. You make sure that I can take the time to make even better videos for you. We have now even become a real cool community. We meet once a year for a workshop, and you have even more advantages if you participate on Patreon. If you're interested, you can find the link in the description under this video. So let's dive right in. Before you send an application to a company, you should be honest and ask yourself a few questions. Number one, why do I apply? What are my motives? Am I annoyed that I use so many sticks and would like to save money? Or do I want to become better known? These are, for example, less good reasons, and the companies will notice that too. If I already like a brand for many years and would like to be part of their official roster, that's a lot better. Number two, why this company? Do I really stand behind the product, the philosophy, the image and so on? To me, it is always very important that the company works as sustainably as possible, but the location can also be decisive. Honesty is still the best policy, and an endorsement is a long-term collaboration. As explained in the last video, it's based on trust. There's no point in being an endorser just to be an endorser. And changing companies more often doesn't make a good impression either. So find a company that really suits you, at least for the moment. That can and should take some time. Number three, the crucial question: how visible am I? How many people really see me at concerts, workshops and on social media? Because that's what matters for the companies. And how potentially visible am I? Do I have a representative and up-to-date homepage? Do I have a social media presence and post regularly? And do I have some good videos of my playing on YouTube? In short, if people look for me, can they find me? If not, then the companies get the signal that you are not taking your task seriously, because as an endorser, your job is to ensure a good public image. Number four, what does the company gain from having me as their endorser? Remember that with an endorsement application, you are asking them to invest time and money in you. Be honest and critical of yourself and ask yourself if it would be worth it for a company and if you can help sell more products, because that's the bottom line from the brand's point of view. So always ask yourself what the other side wants and how you can help to achieve their goals. Number five, can I live with everything that it entails? In the last part, I explained to you that as an endorser, you have certain obligations and disadvantages. So ask yourself beforehand whether this is your way. Because even as a professional, you don't necessarily have to be an endorser. It's not a requirement to be successful. There are more important things. So at the beginning, there should be a realistic self-assessment. If you're not sure, talk to colleagues who are already endorsers, maybe even for the company you want to apply to. If you are then convinced that you are worth it, then show it. A healthy self-confidence is well received in the application as long as there is something behind it. Now you know that, where and why you are applying. The next step is to get more information about the company. Check the website, the social media presence, see who is already an endorser, and above all, where the company has information on endorsement applications. Almost every manufacturer has something about this in the FAQs or contact information. Also keep in mind that endorsements are often not handled directly by the company, but rather through the distributor in your country. When you have found the information, read it carefully and stick to it, because mostly you will find information about whether applications are being accepted at all at the moment, and if so, what minimum standards are expected in terms of visibility. The number of concerts is often decisive, which is usually set somewhere around 30 to 50 shows per year minimum. Regular album releases at record labels are also expected, and for larger companies it has to be international tours, chart rankings and television appearances. But that is of course being replaced more and more by follower numbers on social media, Spotify plays and so on. It's about having good visibility in the niche where the company is trying to win customers. If you don't meet the conditions, really don't apply. Save yourself and the addressee the trouble unless you have some ace up your sleeve and can reach many people through other channels. You will also often find information on how to apply. Some companies have a contact form for this, others only rough guidelines on what to send in. In any case, it is advisable to put together an EPK, an electronic press kit, as every band should have. It should contain a few meaningful and professional photos, links to representative songs and videos, a musical biography, discography, current tour dates, and of course contact information. When you have found the relevant information on the website, or you know who the contact person is, you can call or send an email. Of course, if you know the person, you can address them directly. Trade fairs and other networking events are the best opportunities for this. Whenever possible, it should be done through direct personal contact, ideally even through recommendations. And then put yourself in the shoes of this person who may receive umpteen emails with applications every day. Of course, most of them are quickly sorted out. Here are a few tips on what to avoid so that your application is not one of them. Number 1, under no circumstances should you send mass emails to different companies. The responsible employees can read between the lines very well, and it is also pretty easy to research. If they only see photos with instruments from another brand on your Instagram profile, it is clear that your application is only a shot in the dark. And if it turns out that you have sent the same text to different companies, yes, she wrote me the same thing too yesterday, then you are done, because it is clear that in the end you don't care which brand you use. Number 2, if your first application was rejected, don't send one straight to the next company, because that's one and the same thing. After all, you made a conscious decision to apply to this company. Better wait some time, work on your playing, your visibility and professionality, and apply again after a certain time. This shows that you are really serious about it. Some companies even write explicitly that rejected applications are an invitation to try again in due course. Number 3, don't send an email a few days or weeks after your application to ask about it. It can take a few months from the application to an acceptance or rejection. The company would like to examine the musician thoroughly. Unfortunately, you never get any feedback from many companies, but that usually amounts to a rejection. Then, of course, the same thing applies as in point 2. Number 4, do not make yourself bigger than you are in the application. It'll come out anyway. These people deal with the biggest names ever. Be honest. Feel free to reveal your strengths, but don't take yourself too seriously either. Think about the long term. Honesty will get you the furthest. Also, don't write any vague plans such as hopefully playing so and so many concerts a year. Number 5, do not ask for equipment directly in the application. With this, you just show again that you only care about discounts. Some also ask a company at short notice because they realize shortly before the tour that they still need a lot of gear. When it comes to a very large tour and you are booked for it at a short notice, that's legitimate. But not if that's just too expensive for you or if you just planned badly. Number 6, work on professional social skills. Endorsement deals are always about people, relationships and sympathies, rarely just about the numbers. This also applies to booking or when you're looking for a band or other musicians to play with. When you show that you are making an effort to be friendly and professional, you are signaling that you take the job seriously. And just as for me, the endorsement is less about discounts and more about long-term support, for the company, it is not just about your YouTube clicks or ticket sales, but also about professionalism and pleasant cooperation. If you show that you understand this, identify with the brand and have good visibility, then your chances are pretty good. You see, a lot falls into the category of common sense or being professional. Be friendly, be honest, and be yourself, even in the first contact. It's like a first date. There's no point in pretending to be someone else if you're looking for a partner for life. Show reliability, a long-term perspective, and an understanding of the company's point of view from the start. Also, think about what makes you different from all the others who also apply to this company every day. Ideally, you already endorse a product, meaning you only use this brand because you are convinced of it, recommend it to others, and then you just want to raise it to a professional level and the company will support you with it. Another question I get asked a lot is the company coming up to the musician or is the musician coming up to the company? Of course, there are both ways. Mostly the musician applies, but it happens, especially with the bigger names, that the brand asks the musician or even wants to poach him. You can't wait for it, but you have to expect that companies will approach you from time to time. In that case, however, you should definitely be critical because now you get the application, so to speak. And there are also companies where you have to be very careful because they have a knack for appealing to the musician's honor. They then offer you a deal that sounds very generous, that is high discounts, but the instruments are of poor quality and are overpriced anyway, so that the endorsers are actually only customers and also advertise the brand. So be careful and do your research so as not to fall for a scam. So think of what I said to you earlier with the mass emails. Now you have to check whether the company really wants you personally or just writes messages to a lot of musicians because they don't really care who is in their roster. But that is also sometimes done by young companies who want to make a name for themselves. And this is of course legitimate, and here you have the chance to bet on the right horse early on. But of course, always check it very carefully. The bottom line is, an endorsement is rarely given for work that still needs to be done, but is mostly rewarded for work already done. Sadly, it is true that it is easier to get an endorsement if you have already made it further as a musician and are more independent anyway, but that's often the case in life. You have to fight your way up, you have to do the work first. That shapes your character and is also more fun than jumping straight to the end. But to make it a little easier for you, here are 3 bonus tips. Number 1, think outside the box. Maybe your work or your band is interesting for companies that don't yet have a direct relation to your target audience. Therefore, you are something special in their roster and both you and the company can reach a new audience. I, for example, was once sponsored by a saw blade manufacturer and a hand cream brand. Number 2, giving is always more fun than taking. So regardless of whether you are already an endorser or not, send the company of your choice cool photos and videos that they can use without being asked to do so. And also send them your tour dates too. Then they might post them. Above all, it's about showing that you are proud to play the instruments and help represent the brand well. This advance will come back to you. Do good things and good things will happen to you. You like, not just the ones you think could get you an endorsement deal. Honesty lasts the longest and there are no guarantees anyway. Always remember that you will not get endorsed, that you will not be endorsed. This formulation has bothered me for a long time because it conveys a completely wrong picture. The musician is the endorser. She endorses the brand. If you understand that, you are already a big step further ahead than many others, and this will also be reflected in your application. If this video helped you, please help so that I can continue making new ones for you. Please subscribe, give a like, or write me something in the comments. All of this helps that this video is shown to more people. Thank you so much for the support. In the next video, I want to show you the result of one of my endorsements, namely a series of custom symbols from Masterwork. Hope to see you there. Until then, take care and bye-bye.